This is a preview of the book titled Microsoft VBA Loops Statements for Word and Excel. Includes do until, while when, and for next statements. The table of contents: title, copyright, preface, understanding the order of loop statements and how they work, understanding do until statements, understanding while when statements, understanding if and for next statements. Microsoft Excel loop statements: Kinney loop 1, do until statement; Kinney loop 2, while when statement; Kinney loop 3, while when statement; Kinney loop 4, while when statement; Kinney loop 4a, while when statement; Kinney loop 5, while when statement. Microsoft Word loop statements: Kinney loop 6, for each and while when statement; Kinney loop 7, if and for next statement; Kinney loop 8, if and for next statements and param array with functions; Kinney loop 9, if else and for next statements; Kinney loop 10, if and for next statements; Kinney loop 11, if and for next statements; Kinney loop 12, if and for next statements. A new helpful hint on writing VBA object paths in Microsoft Word and Excel, independent exercises, optional quiz, freebies, and download stuff. Author. We're going to skip ahead to the preface. This book is the third and final book in the Microsoft VBA Codes Are Fun, Simple, and Easy to Learn in 1 Hour or Less series. I'm dedicated to making VBA as simple as possible for anyone who wants to harness its power and efficiency. Since I've already explained Microsoft VBA statements, built-in objects, arrays, variables, integers, sub, private sub, and public sub tags in my previous books, I won't be explaining them in this one. I also use everyday language with pictorial examples to explain how to understand and write Microsoft loop statements in both Word and Excel. This book contains more than 12 complete VBA loop statements or codes for both Microsoft Excel and Word that will allow the user to complete everyday tasks in seconds. Some of those tasks are aligning all normal text paragraphs, centering all header text, centering all images and photographs, while ignoring text and headers. There's also VBA codes in this book that will simultaneously resize all images in a user's document, delete extra paragraph lines, insert empty paragraph lines, loop through spreadsheets, and add custom spark lines. And this book contains a VBA code that will color code cells and their content based on logical statements. In other words, it will allow you to do what the conditional formatting feature was designed to do for you. I've also included a fun quiz chapter. Your answers will not be provided by me. Instead, you'll need to run each complete VBA code in the VBA module window. If you're wrong, you'll immediately know it because the codes will either not work for you or you'll receive an error message while in the VBA module window for Word and or Excel. For users who purchase this book, I encourage each of you to use it in conjunction with your Microsoft Word and or Excel VBA module help menus. Anything that I've not explained in this book can be found by typing a specific object name into the VBA Windows Help menu search field. Example, active document, range, cells, inline shapes, etc. Because this is my last book in this series, I encourage users to consider purchasing the first 2 books in this series because there are many things that I don't explain in this book because I've already explained them in one of the 2 previous books in this series. Okay, every person is different. Personally, I don't need to spend days or weeks reading a 400-page textbook or manual in order for me to quickly master any type of program language. This is why all of my books are designed for people like me. Individuals who don't want to spend more than 15 minutes or an hour of his or her time reading through tutorial or how-to books. Most of the people that I know that purchase 400-page textbooks or manuals never read them. They just toss them into their desk drawers and forget about them. When a person can complete a tutorial book in less than an hour, he or she is more likely to regularly reopen the book and use it whenever he or she needs to. This is the main reason why my books are all short and straight to the point. Most people like things that are fun, most people like things that are fun, fast, and easy, and I've tried to make this book fall under those categories. Lastly, before users rely on a critic's review of my books, I encourage him or her to take into consideration that critics are people. There are trustworthy people and there are untrustworthy people in this world, and some critics can fall under either category. Users should carefully read bad reviews of my books made by certain critics. The user should then check out some of the links in my profile so he or she can access and download some of my creations. The best person to choose what's right for you is you, not me and not an unknown critic who may have his or her own agenda for his or her poor reviews. The same goes for good reviews made by a critic. This book doesn't contain an index, a reference section, or a study guide. Understanding the order of loop statements and how they work. Understanding do-until statements. This is the order of a do-until loop statement. The first line, purple text sub. Aqua text, create name for complete code. Begin parentheses, close parentheses is purple. Second line, dim statement is purple. Create your own integer name is green. As integer is purple. Third line, create your own integer name is green. Equals is purple. To is blue. Fourth line, do is purple. Fifth line, if statement isn't true, do these things. All of those, that text is black. 6. Create your own integer name is green text. Equals symbol is purple. Create your own integer name is green text. Plus symbol is purple. The number 1 is blue. Seventh line, loop until is purple text. Cells, begin parentheses, is red text. Create your own integer name is green text. Comma, to, close parentheses, equals, double quote. All of that is red text. Eighth and last line, end sub, is purple text. The purple text is absolute for the do-until statement, and it must not be changed in any way. This includes the order that it's written above. The aqua text isn't absolute for the do-until statement. In other words, you can name it anything that you desire. This is the electronic name that you give to your VBA subcontainer. It holds the contents of your code. Anything between the subline and the end subline is part of the aqua text container above. The black text isn't absolute for do-until statements. In other words, you can type any Microsoft Excel, Word, PowerPoint, or access built-in paths and or logical statement that you desire. Here are a few examples. Number 1. Range, begin parentheses, double quote, A1, end double quote, close parentheses, period, value, equals, begin double quote, Kenny, close double quote. Line, example number 2. Active document, period, font, period, bold, equals, true. Third example, cells, that's C-E-L-L-S, begin parentheses, the letter X, comma, 3, close parentheses, period, value, equals counter plus 1. The black text instructs Microsoft VBA what it must do as long as the red text isn't true. In other words, do a specific task or tasks as long as the cell in a particular column isn't empty. The green or the olive green text is the name of the integer that will be used to increase the number used in all loop statements. The integers necessary for any and all loop statements that don't include the find object. The red text is the condition that is to be met in order for the loop statement to either continue to loop through a document, a spreadsheet, a database, or a slideshow. In the case of the do until loop statement in this example, the red text must not equal true.